everyone. Welcome. So, so got a little news. It's pretty good, actually, depending on how you look at it. Someone was denied parole. Does anyone want to guess who it was? Susan Smith. Baby killer Susan Smith was denied parole 2 days ago. Susan Smith denied parole. And apparently, after she learned that she got denied parole by the South Carolina Parole Board, Susan Smith had a temper tantrum. Hey, Sarah. So, Miss Baby Killer wasn't actually sorry for what she's done, apparently. So, this is according to the New York Post or something. This is just a report out of the state prison in South Carolina. Unconfirmed report that Susan Smith had a temper tantrum after being denied parole. So, and good. I don't know, Sarah. I don't know. He probably would, with the all those fried brain cells of his. I wouldn't be surprised. Hey, Zen. So let's give the parole board in South Carolina a round of applause for denying a baby killer parole. So apparently, some idiot judge in South Carolina sentenced Susan Smith, all right, to 2 life sentences in prison in 1995 for the murders of her 2 sons, instead of 2 consecutive life terms. So what does that mean? She serves her 2 life terms side by side. So she goes up for parole in 30 years instead of 60. I think that was a major disgrace in this case. That's my opinion, and probably the opinion of many others in the general public. So, what did Susan Smith do exactly? This was over 30 years ago, and some people in this community actually were in diapers when Susan Smith did what she did. So let me refresh everyone's memory as to what this cunt-ass bitch did. So everyone probably remembers the case of Casey Anthony. She just killed her 2-year-old Kaylee. So Susan was she was in my opinion an attention seeker based on her behavior. So she was convicted of murdering her 2 sons, 3-year-old Michael and 1-year-old Alexander, in 1994 by strapping her children in their car seats and rolling her car containing her 2 children into John D. Long Lake, South Carolina. So this is Union County, South Carolina. The case gained international attention because of Smith's false claim that a black man had kidnapped her sons during a carjacking. So what she did, so Susan Smith didn't wait 31 days to report her kid missing, or kids missing, or whatever you want to call it. She reported her kids missing right away. She called the cops and said she was carjacked with a firearm. Blah, 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 blah. I remember from that case that she was on TV pleading for her kid's safe return. And then the media had a sketch, so to speak. So they had a sketch of a black guy, the so-called guy who carjacked her kids or kidnapped her kids or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Then I was a kid back then, I was like 13 years old. So I'm like, okay. Hope the kids are all right. Something didn't seem right with her, in my opinion, back then. Yep, Wendy. That was the motive. That was Susan Smith's motive. She did it because she liked a guy who didn't want someone who had kids. That's why Susan Smith did it. It wasn't because, according to the defense, she was deeply troubled and depressed. Come on here. We all know why she did it. It was selfish and vain. It was selfish. It's one of the most selfish things you could do, or one of the most selfish reasons to kill your kids. Come on here. Good point, Zen. Good point. And Wendy's right here, all right? She was having an affair with that Tom Finley. She was having an affair. I don't know. Technically, they're having an affair. I'm not sure if her and her husband were separated or what the deal was. But technically, her and her husband were divorced the following year, in 1995. So Susan Smith was cheating with this Tom Finley, a wealthy guy, and he didn't want her due to the fact that she had kids. I don't know about that. I'm thinking about that, Wendy, and maybe it had to do with the fact that she was married at the time. Yeah, and her husband stood by her side while pleading for the safe return of her kids, of their two children. Yeah. So at least Susan Smith came up with a little better of a story than the Zanny the Nanny excuse. But it was still bullshit. She lied. And then in 1994, we had a crime problem. Everyone may remember. So accusing a black guy of carjacking her probably caused racial tensions to heat up. This is in the 90s. This is in the 90s. Crime was, yep, Sarah, you're 100% right. She caused racial unrest. She caused trauma to her community. And she expects to get paroled. She expects to get paroled after 30 years. And the fucking judge, I don't know what was in his mind or her mind, gave her a break. Hey, Violet. She should have got 60 years to life, in my opinion. I don't think she should have got life. I think if you really want my opinion, I think she should have been strapped to a gurney. For what she did. And then been served with a hot needle by now. So some of these death row inmates, they're on death row for like 20, 25 years. So I think she should have been, in my opinion, if it went the right way, she should have been dead. A dead woman walking. If the justice actually worked, but a jury actually said life, not death. So we have to respect the jury's decision on that. I don't know why they chose life. Absolutely, Sarah. She made it worse. Yeah, Zen, if she got life, she shouldn't even get parole, for fuck's sakes. It was a death penalty case. So when she got arrested, Susan Smith got arrested, the state of South Carolina asked for the death penalty. This was a heinous crime that sent shockwaves across the country, and especially in South Carolina. It sent shockwaves. Yeah, 100%, Sarah. The fact that she was even up for parole in the first place. Damn. I don't think she should be up for parole at all. After what she did? No way. No fucking way should she be up for parole. But at least the parole board had enough sense to unanimously vote no. I'll give the parole board that. Let's give them a round of applause for that, at least. So, I'm not going to read her family background, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't really care. There are people that had shitty backgrounds, shitty childhoods, and they still don't commit heinous crimes like this. All right? Damn. So later revelations indicated that detectives doubted Smith's story from the start and believed she committed murder. By the second day of the investigation, the police suspected that she knew their location and hoped they were still alive. Investigators started to search the nearby lakes and ponds, including John D. Long Lake, where their bodies were eventually found. Initial water searches did not locate the car because the police believed it would be 30 feet from the shore and did not search further. It turned out to be 122 feet from the shore. After the boys had been missing for 2 days, all right, Smith was subjected to a polygraph test. A significant breakthrough in the case was her description of the carjacking location. She claimed that a traffic light had turned red, causing her to stop at an otherwise empty intersection. However, it was determined that the light would not have turned red for her unless another vehicle was present at the intersecting road. This conflicted with her statement that she did not see any other cars there when the carjacking took place. While in prison, Susan had multiple internal punishments. So we're going to get to that, all right? So Susan Smith was subjected to a polygraph. It doesn't say here if she passed or failed. She probably failed it too. So they didn't say, Wendy, if her parents were asking for parole, but the community was there. They begged the parole board not to let her out. Her ex-husband was there with his new wife. They begged to keep her in. I don't know the answer to that, Wendy. Your last question, is there anyone famous that is out of prison on parole? Well, there was O.J. Simpson. He's dead now, but I can't think of anyone that's alive to give an example. The only example I can give to you, Wendy, is O.J. Simpson. No, that was Wendy. That was David Smith and his new wife. They were there. So here's the thing. Susan Smith's father's dead. I don't know where her mother is. She was supposedly absentee parent, supposedly. So everyone there was anti-parole, and they should be. Look at what she did. She just didn't. This isn't just a case about a double homicide and she drove the car into the lake. All right. There were her kids. She made up a big old bullshit story about a carjacking. The motive was petty as fuck. All right. It was so she can carry on her affair with the wealthy guy who had money. All right. Damn. So Susan Smith was convicted. It took no more than 2.5 hours to convict the bitch for the jury in 1995. So Smith's defense was not that she didn't do it, but that she was deeply troubled and experienced severe depression. So Susan Smith's lawyer told the jury, this is not a case about evil. This is a case about despair and sadness. Boo hoo. That's what I say, you know? The defense's theory about the case was that Smith drove to the edge of the lake to kill herself and her two sons. I call that bullshit, all right? But her body willed herself out of the car. Hip, hip, hooray. What a miracle as that was, right? The prosecution, on the other hand, believed she murdered her sons in order to start a new life with her former lover, who was, let me go up. Let me get his name here. Finley. Let's see here. Let me get the. So it took the jury 2.5 hours to convict her. I'm sure it. I'm just surprised it took that long to convict this cunt. All right, that's just my opinion. All right, they probably just had to go through the jury instructions or whatever, and the jury ultimately voted against imposing the death penalty during the penalty phase. So Smith was sentenced by the judge to 2 concurrent life terms in prison for the murders of her 2 sons. So they had to have a defense. So Susan Smith, hey, Witchy Nicole. Absolutely, Witchy Nicole. If she was fucking depressed, she could have gone other routes, called CPS and said, I don't care for the kids. She could have gave them to her fucking husband, for fuck's sakes, and say, I don't want the kids. She didn't have to kill them. Damn. These brain dead motherfuckers. Absolutely, Witchy. Absolutely. I would have preferred that she called her husband that she was allegedly separated from. Say, I don't want the kids. Here you go. Drop him off at his doorstep. I'm going through issues right now. I'd rather have her do that than what she did, than what she fucking did. What she did was unforgivable. All right. Yeah. And she can give up her parental rights too. There are options. There are damn options for parents. Yep, Sarah. The death penalty, in my mind, is reserved for the worst of the worst. All right. And Susan Smith, in my opinion, is one of the worst offenders. Okay. The death penalty, in my mind, is for serial killers, people like Susan Smith. Yes. Yeah, Witchy. Those kids did not deserve to die. They did not deserve to drown in a cold lake. Damn. Yep, Zen, absolutely. She had a husband who would have taken care of her kids, but she didn't give him the fucking option. As I said before, in my opinion, this crime was selfish and self-centered. I know. I don't. I don't want to even imagine that. I don't even want to imagine that because that would drive me absolutely insane. You know, we're human beings here. We just don't want to imagine something like that. But I get what you're thinking. You know how scared they must have been. Where's my mommy? Where's my daddy? Yeah, it breaks our heart for something like this to happen. All right. Oh yeah, and we're gonna get to that next, then. We're gonna get to that next, all right? She was not exactly a model prisoner. And that played a role the other day in her getting denied parole. All right. It wasn't just the victim impact statements. I'm sure the victim impact statements played a role. Because apparently, when she had her temper tantrum after getting denied parole, all right, we all knew what the family, what David Smith's family and friends and some in that community knew from the start. That Susan Smith is about her only, her feelings. Nobody else matters. So I'm just gonna get to her clinical diagnosis when she was for the court. So Smith's defense psychiatrist diagnosed her with dependent personality disorder and major depression. So, what is dependent personality disorder? It is a personality disorder characterized by a pervasive psychological dependence on other people. This personality disorder is a long-term condition in which people depend on others to meet their emotional and physical needs. So that's a brief description of what's wrong with her. And major depression, okay, big deal. All right. So Susan Smith has a problem with following the rules in prison. So Smith was first incarcerated at the Administrative Segregation Unit in the Camille Griffin Graham Correctional Institution in Columbia, South Carolina. Okay. So she had problems behaving there. Doesn't everyone suffer from depression from time to time, Witchy? Does everyone? Thank you, Witchy. Having depression does not keep you from knowing right from wrong. And she knew what was right and what was wrong and didn't give a fuck. All right? She knew what was right. She knew what was wrong. She knew it was wrong to kill her kids. She didn't give a shit. All she was worried about at the time that she killed her kids was her feelings. That's how I view it. So, in 2000, two correctional officers at that facility, Lieutenant Houston Hagel and Captain Alfred R. Rowe, were charged with having sex with her. Coincidentally, she was moved to the Leith Correctional Institution in Greenwood, South Carolina. So, apparently the story goes like this. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on this. This is just what's going around on the internet. But apparently Susan Smith was seducing the male guards at the institution. So, under the law, anyone in a correctional facility doesn't have the ability to consent to sex. So the two correctional officers that had sex with Susan Smith were charged. Plus, she had other disciplinary incidents. At in prison. And the parole board actually asked her about it. So before I went live, I was actually listening to clips of her parole hearing. I was listening to Susan Smith's words, so to speak. She was sitting there crying and ugh. I think she was crying because she was there. I don't think she was. And then she was telling the parole board when she was asked that question, well, I haven't had a disciplinary write-up in over 10 years. So she's been there. Yeah. That's what I think, Witchy. She was crying to gain sympathy with the parole board and for them to think, oh, I'm so sorry for what I did. I'll never do it again. Bullshit. Yeah. And then she cried afterwards, Sarah. She cried afterwards because she didn't get paroled. She was stomping her feet and screaming and yelling because the parole board said, fuck no, we're not letting you out, Susan. Your crime was too heinous, caused too much. You caused too much damage to people's lives. Why should we let you out? Plus, the parole board, I think a few of the ladies on the parole board were saying, why should we let you out, Susan? You can't even follow the rules in the prison. How are we going to expect you to follow the law when you get out? And they had a good point. They had a good fucking point. And so okay. So if you listen to Susan's words, all right. If you listen to that criminal's mouth, to the parole board, she's been in prison for 30 years. 30. From 1994, late 1994, and to 2 days ago. 2 days ago was her parole hearing, or 3 days ago, and then they came up with the decision 2 days ago. So, let's see here. So, Susan Smith claims she hasn't had a disciplinary action or write-up in 10. So, she's telling the parole board that she's been acting up in prison for 20 years. So if you really want to believe Susan Smith, she's been causing the guards and other inmates problems for 20 years of her incarceration. So she wasn't following the rules for 20 years. And then she said, I grew up for the last 10. So damn. I could see if it was the first few years of her incarceration, but she was doing it for fucking 20 years. She was not following the rules. She was seducing the guards, trying to get special privileges, blah, 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 blah. Come on here. You're trying to fool people on the parole board. You weren't fooling me. I could see right through your skanky little ass, Susan. I can see right through it, you know? I can see right through her skanky fucking ass. So what was it? 20 years through her she spent 20 years in state prison, and then she says, "Oh, I go up for parole in 10. I need to behave myself or pretend to behave myself and not get caught." Did she think it's going to go her way? The parole board wasn't going to pick up on it? Damn. She was an animal in 1994 when she killed her kids. She had fucking options. Give them to her husband. Give them to a family member. She was a brain dead motherfucker. Decided to be selfish and deceitful. She made up a bullshit story. Made up a bullshit story. Caused racial tensions across the country for accusing a black man of hijacking her car, which was total bullshit, by the way. It made the national news. She was so manipulative. She was on the news begging for her kids' safe return when she knew they were dead. I could see that, Witchy. She was real profiling. We never forgot about you, Susan Smith. We never forgot what you did all those years ago. In 1994 and 1995, you're the most hated woman in America. We were hoping a jury put you to death. Because we couldn't stand you. Yep. She made herself a high profile case by using the news media to try to get away with her crime. Hey, Jason. So, unfortunately, she goes up for parole in 2 years again. I think that's a disgrace and a slap in the face. But unfortunately, that's the way the system works. In South Carolina, she should have got natural life if she wasn't electrocuted or got the needle. Whatever method South Carolina gives, whatever method of execution South Carolina offers these days. Let me look up, okay. South Carolina. There we go. That'll answer the question. So, okay. So South Carolina has 3 options if Susan Smith got the death penalty. She can get electrocuted, firing squad, or lethal injection. So she would have 3 options to choose from if the jury was smart enough to give it to her. Because I don't think she deserves to go up for parole every 2 years now. But at least the parole board has some common sense and denied her. Here's my opinion on this. I don't think no parole board in their right mind is going to let her breathe free air again. Okay? After all the things that she's done, all the manipulation, Sarah, you're right and you're wrong. All right, it's also the judge's fault. Okay, so what I'm reading here, all right, is this. So we all know during a criminal trial, a death penalty trial, that they have the guilt phase and the penalty phase. All right. So the jury decides if you get life or death. Okay. So the jury came back with life. Then they usually come back in 30 days for sentencing. Okay. Since Susan Smith killed 2 people, 2 kids under the age of 18, that was kind of aggravating factor for the death penalty in the first place. So the judge should have gave her 2 consecutive life terms. So what life means in South Carolina for first-degree murder is 30 years to life. That's what life means in South Carolina under South Carolina law. So what I'm reading here is, so if Smith was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms, she would have got 30 years to life for the first child that got murdered. Then she would have got 30 years to life for the second. So she wouldn't be up for parole the other day. She would have had to do 60 years before she's seen the parole board. But since she was sentenced to 2 concurrent life terms, she did the 2 30 years to life side by side concurrently. So in this case, it's the judge's fault too for giving her concurrent life terms in prison. Yep. You're absolutely right, Sarah. It's capital murder for both kids. They're both under fucking 10. And it wasn't the kids were getting on my nerves, so I snapped. It was so she could be with her lover, this rich guy. That makes it even worse. Yeah, absolutely, Sarah. Fuck that judge. Fuck that jury. Fuck that fucking jury, you know? I don't know what was going through the brains of that Casey Anthony jury, to be honest with you. I could see if the jury in the Casey Anthony case says, okay, they can't prove murder one, but they prove she did it by the circumstantial evidence. So we'll give her murder two instead. Or they could have went with the theory, okay, the felony murder rule. So here's the felony murder rule for everyone that don't know it. This was explained on Nancy Grace so many times during the Casey Anthony trial. So if you commit a crime, a felony, and that causes the death of someone, that is murder one. So the other theory of the Casey Anthony case was death by child abuse. So if she was drugging her kid so she can go party at Club Fusion, and the kid died from an overdose or something, or from chloroform or whatever you want to call it, that's murder one. There was enough evidence, circumstantial evidence, to come to that conclusion too. But here's the reason, all right? That jury was sequestered, the Casey Anthony jury. They wanted to go home. They didn't want to go through the evidence. They wanted their smoking gun. Most murders aren't caught on tape. I'd say 95% of murders aren't caught on tape. So you don't get a videotape of someone killing someone. Most of the time you get circumstantial evidence or some physical evidence, such as what's in the trunk of the car, decomposing body tissue. Duh. Okay, Scotty, I'm going to respond to that. That is true. But under the law, a judge cannot say that to a jury. That is absolutely true. The judge cannot tell the jury that she would be eligible for parole. They can't do that. That was explained back in 1995 or something. And several of the jurors actually said this, Scotty, during the interview after the trial. If they knew that she would be eligible for parole, they would have voted for the death penalty. But under the law, a jury cannot be told that. A jury cannot be told certain things during the penalty phase. And it's in the, and there's, you can actually look up on Google common jury instructions during a death penalty phase trial. So, absolutely, Scotty. She should never be released from prison. That's what I've been saying for the last hour, you know? Yeah, good point, Scotty. No tears came. Because she looked to me back when I was 13 like there's something wrong with her. She was cuckoo for cuckoo puffs. I knew there was something wrong with her. It was just, but it took 9 days for the police to figure it out, along with the polygraph test, which she probably failed. Well, let me look this up. All right, this article isn't telling me everything, so it's not saying. All right, I'm getting. See here. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I gotta okay, this was October 30th, 1994. This article was published. And the Union County Sheriff Howard Wells refused to confirm or deny reports that Susan Smith had failed a police lie detector test. So what they're saying in this article is, to my question that I was asking Google, is the police never said yay or nay to if she passed or failed her polygraph test. So that's a question that I had. Did she pass or fail her polygraph test at the police station? Does anyone know if she actually failed it? Oh, she did fail it. All right, Scotty. That's one thing I can't find on here. You know, if she actually failed her polygraph exam. I'm sure she did because the police probably says, okay, she failed her polygraph, and things in her statement are not adding up. So they focused the investigation on Miss Smith, you know, the Susan. Oh, the husband, the ex-husband. Yeah, and it was premeditated. Oh, yeah, Scotty. The dad even said try to give her tips on passing a second one because he just thought it was nerves. No, I don't think so. She was guilty as sin. And once her soon to be ex-husband figured out that she was guilty of what she did, and then after she confessed, she filed for divorce. It was fuck you, Susan. Here you go. Yeah, it was fuck Susan. That skanky little bitch. You know? Yeah, she should never get released. I don't think, Scotty, to be honest with you, I don't think she's ever going to breathe free air again. And she shouldn't. This woman shouldn't be released. Yeah, I do too, Scotty. I don't think the family should have to go to parole hearings every 2 years just to make sure and ensure that backstabbing baby killer stays behind bars. I don't think it's fair. But here's the thing. At least the family has the right to speak out at the parole hearing. Yup. Time doesn't make this crime go away. Time doesn't make what she did suddenly all right. $100%, Jason. And that tells me something. And that shows something. What does that tell us? Members of the public. She was only concerned about her own needs. Yeah, she even got 2 guards in trouble. Because it shows selfishness, doesn't it? Me, 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 me. What about me? Something we hear every single day in this drama community we have. Yeah, Witchy. They think about those boys every single day. Because guess what? They're human beings. They have normal emotions. Okay? They have normal emotions. They're not narcissistic, or they're not like Susan Smith, a baby killer who did it just because she wanted a man. Just because she wanted to be a hoe. Or because she wanted to hit the lotto. It's disgusting. If that marriage was over at the time, all right. She had the option of giving custody to her husband, and then she could run off with that guy if she wanted. She didn't have to do what she did. She may be that may have been cold. but it would be considered better than what she did, a better choice. And I'm just going to say this before we go. A lot of these baby killers out there, they have choices. They don't have to do what they do. Yeah, okay, I'll admit sometimes panic and fear is an element. But it's no excuse, really, when you get right down to it. You have safe harbor laws on the books that says if you don't want your newborn, you can't take care of your newborn, you can take it to a school, a police station, hospital, no questions asked. There's something called the internet. What do I do? There was one girl, there's one baby killer. I don't know if she's a baby killer or not. This was on Nancy Grace several years ago. But she was at a concert venue. I don't know if she was at a concert, a circus, something like that. And she started having cramps, so she goes to the bathroom. She flushes her baby down the fucking toilet. She didn't have to do that. Now it's unclear if she miscarried or the baby died. Or she threw him in the garbage can afterwards or something. But the depravity of some people. No respect for human life whatsoever. Just because they don't want people to know they were pregnant or something. So in those cases, I think they should actually teach these girls in high school what your options are. In the event you get pregnant, these girls get pregnant and they're too scared. Because I'm not advocating for schools to encourage the kids to be having sex. Maybe it should be, instead of abstinence only, they should encourage it. Encourage abstinence. But if you choose not to, these are your consequences. You can get pregnant, you can get an STD. And then this is how you handle it. Like a civilized human being. Because look at all these. Ever since Susan Smith got on the news, the news cycle, women it started to become an epidemic. And ever since Casey Anthony, it gotten worse. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Hockett. Absolutely. But which Nicole, yeah, you're absolutely right. Abstinence is 100%. Is 100%. But do all kids listen to their parents when it comes to sex? So do all parents listen? Apparently not. We have a high pregnancy rate in this country, teenage pregnancy rate. We have abortion rights on the ballot in many states since the Dobbs decision. All right. We shouldn't be encouraging kids to be getting laid, so to speak. Yeah, absolutely, Jason. Some of the traits we see in Susan Smith and Casey Anthony are the same. That's why I brought both of them up in this discussion, because guess what? There are some traits in both of them that are the same that I see. Absolutely, yes, Hockett. But some parents are so conservative and God fearing that they don't even do that. So what's the alternative? They get charged with murder because they're too scared to tell their mom that they got pregnant. I need to take care of it. I need to contact an adoption agency, or this is the issue here. Because this isn't the 1950s anymore. All right. This isn't the 1950s. You see sex and violence on TV. Movies are getting more and more sexually explicit. Because I'll say this. When I was growing up in the 90s, at least, okay, anytime they use the word fuck, okay, they just had to use the word once, okay? They just had to use the word once, and it was rated R. This was in the 70s, 80s, 90s. You use the word fuck. I think if you use the word cunt or slut, it's rated R too. So it's rated R for language. Let's just put it that way, all right? Let's just put it that way. It was rated R for language. And my mother would watch these movies. And I was in 94 or whatever, 95, 96. My mother would watch these movies. This isn't bad. This isn't that bad. She'd watch the Chucky movies or whatever, and she'd say, okay, I think she bought Child's Play 1 and 2. And I was watching them. Just okay. Let my older kid watch them. They're not that bad. They just said the F word a few times, and they had this what's his name? What's the guy's name in Chucky, the serial killer? Chucky something, Charles something. things like that. But here's the thing. Here's what my father did. He used to watch the movie first, and if it wasn't that bad, it was just a few bad words, he let me watch it. Yeah, Charles Lee Ray. That's right, Wishy. That's right. I forgot his name, you know? The Chucky movies, you know? Yeah, so I was watching some of them, and but if it had like nudity or something in it, I wasn't allowed to watch those till I was a little older. But hey, now we're seeing it on primetime TV. It started with NYPD Blue, where they showed your butt. Now it's starting again. So it's not the 50s anymore. All right. They got a little temptation. This abstinence only policy doesn't work. Maybe they should encourage abstinence. You get what I'm saying? And just say, okay, these are the consequences of your actions if you don't become it, if you're not abstinent. You get what I'm saying, girls? It doesn't have to be this program where you like in the UK. I'm hearing this program where they're teaching kids how to touch themselves. It's disgusting. They're getting even more disgusting with this sex ed thing in other countries. And I'm like, I'm backing away, you know? But I'm just saying something has to be done to get rid of the unwanted pregnancy, to prevent it. But Susan Smith decided to have 2 kids. She decided to open her legs, pop out 2 kids. It was her responsibility to take care of them. Same thing with Casey Anthony. She popped out a kid. It was her responsibility to take care of her. Sorry, but hey, Shelly. It was them 2 baby killers' responsibility to take care of their children, and they failed. Let's see. Casey Anthony killed her kid. Susan Smith killed 2 of her kids, drove their kids in a lake. She wanted a man. One was convicted, the other wasn't. Okay, Wendy, I can get that. I can get that opinion. Should be left up to the parents. Okay. I can see that. Yeah. I'm so happy about it, though, Shelly. I'm so happy she got her parole denied. She deserved it. She deserved to get her parole denied. And then I'm reading this news report that she had a temper tantrum after she got denied on Wednesday. She caused a behavior problem at the prison. Excuse me? You go up to the parole board with your so-called tears, saying you're so sorry. If I had to go back, I'd do something different. And because she misbehaved in prison. Yeah, this is Susan Smith, Shelley. She causes fuss. We don't buy it. We don't buy you're sorry. She's sorry for what she did. At least I don't. Well, maybe she's sorry. Maybe she's sorry she got caught. And things didn't work out the way she wanted it to. Yeah. She goes before the parole board, Shelley. She goes before the parole board. She put on her tears, and she expected to be paroled the other day. It's not how it works. It's not how it always works. Now, I will say that there are people that get paroled that shouldn't be. Okay. I think the standards for parole should be changed. Because in all due reality, the number one criteria that they look at for someone getting paroled is if they're sorry for what they did. I don't agree with that. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if someone goes up for parole, all right, and they're a danger to themselves or other people, they're a danger to the community. Suppose we have someone that's extremely violent, will commit the crime again. But they say they're sorry for their crime, the previous violent crime. See? See what Shelley said? This is Canada for you. This happens in the US too, Shelley, sometimes. So do you know what one lady got, Shelley, in Texas one time? She got probation for murder. She didn't get any time. Let that sink in. So they let a jury decide how much time she'd get in jail for murder. First-degree murder, actually. I think they gave her probation. That's another case. I don't think juries should be able to give probation as a punishment for murder, but they were able to in Texas. That's how the criminal justice system fails sometimes. So if you go up to the parole board and you're a danger to other people in the community, I don't think they should. I think they should deny your. They should just stand denied on the parole application. I think if they're sorry for their crime, should be secondary. Yeah, Wendy. That's just how I view it. If you're a dangerous felon and you're a threat to other people, and you say, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your crime," and that's all the parole board needs to let you out. But of course, they don't believe Susan Smith is sorry for what she did. But at the same time, they're looking at the damage she's caused, the crime she committed. She committed 2 counts of first-degree murder, and the effect it had on her community where she committed the crime, and the circumstances behind it. Well, I'm just going to say this. The parole board did a good job this time. Now they got to keep doing it every 2 years and slap denied on the application for parole, because this nut job shouldn't get out. She can't even follow the rules inside jail. How is she going to sit there and abide by parole conditions? For fuck's sakes. Yep, she could do it right again, Wendy. She could do it again. Who knows? They don't have to really, because as I said before, Wendy, her being a threat to other people is secondary. They don't take that seriously enough because it's the law. It needs to be changed. So I'm hearing, and that's how some innocent people don't get let out by the parole board when they can present enough evidence that they didn't do it. Because guess what? They have to admit they did it, and they're sorry for it, and convince the parole board they're actually sorry. But of course, the system is fucked up. The system's fucked up, no matter which way you say it or how you look at it. There's always people that fall through the cracks. And I hope Susan Smith doesn't fall through the cracks in 2 years. And they say, "Oh, okay, let's let her go." I don't think 15 years for each kid that she killed is enough time for all the harm she's caused. Wendy, I don't believe in hell. Really? Yeah. 32, 31. So you see, I can do a true crime case without dragging the victims, families, by going by the facts of the case and giving my opinion on the case. Why can't Street Rat do the same thing? I don't get it. I just don't get it. If you want to do true crime, stick to the facts. Stick to the facts. If you don't have anything new, move on to the next case if you want to do true crime full time. All right? That is true, Ass Hockett, because she is a street rat. And she's getting sued. And she's getting sued for RICO for making threats to others, just to collect the money. Am I making threats to other creators because I want to collect the money? Nope. Or because they want to be the only one covering something? Mm-mm. So, just before I go, we got news on the Whoopi Goldberg. So, Whoopi decided to slander and defame a Staten Island bakery because they had problems with their boiler, aka ovens. They were going on the fritz. So when Whoopi tried to place an order with Holterman's, they said we cannot commit to a large order. Fair, isn't it? You're having problems with your ovens, you disclose at a time. We're having yeah, Wendy. This is about Whoopi Goldberg and her accusations on The View. So they said we can't commit to that. We can't guarantee your order will be. However, the bakery didn't know when their oven, or aka boiler, was going to be fixed. Since the boiler or whatever was 60 years old, 70 years old. So they got it fixed before they thought it would be. Good for them. And someone else at The View placed another order. And Whoopi got her wonderful birthday dessert. on The View. Oh, Whoopi decided to go on the air and tell lies, saying they denied service to Whoopi because of her political beliefs. That wasn't true. It was bullshit. She was told on the phone that it was because of the boiler, and she said that's what they said. Whoopi even admits that. Yeah, they are so vile, Wendy. So she lies, and those cupcakes. She didn't mention the name of the bakery in Staten Island, but they had a trademark on them for the Charlotte Russe dessert. She said it was a New York City bakery. Plus, she said it had a polka dot cup or something, or the liner. And that was just distinct. So, bakery experts and people that's been to that bakery in New York knew exactly who Whoopi was talking about. She didn't have to name the bakery. It took less than 5 minutes to Google who she was fucking talking about. Surprise, surprise. So now I'm seeing in my news feed that bakery is now suing Whoopi Goldberg. Good for them. So now Whoopi is probably going to have to cough up some money and write a check. Because, as I said in my video, where's my cupcakes? Judge Janine, who's actually a member of the bar in New York, told what the law in New York is. All right. They don't have to name the person per se. They have to give enough information to identify the business or person. So Whoopi doubles down in an Instagram video saying it's no big deal. I didn't mention the bakery. She found it funny that they wouldn't fill my order when I called, but when someone else called, they were able to pick them up. But that doesn't matter now because I enjoyed my birthday with my desserts. So I'm happy. And she should have kept her fucking mouth shut. Yeah, her name is Karen. Her real name is Karen, and she is a Karen. So that's my opinion. So good luck in court. You're going to need it, Whoopi. Miss Karen. I know she's probably not going to watch this, but she's not going to watch this, but hey. Defamation, Wendy. Because Whoopi inferred by her statement on The View that Whoopi was denied service due to her political beliefs. When she was told on the fucking phone that they couldn't commit to an order because their boilers were on the fritz, which were 60 to 70 years old. So Holterman's is a bakery in Staten Island It's been in business for 146 years. They were in business for 146 years. So they opened up in 1878. Hey, Wyoming. So Holterman's is now considered, I think, one of New York State's oldest running bakeries. So Whoopi decides to do business with them and then slanders and defames them. Yeah, I agree with you, Wyoming. I agree with you. She's a lying trash bag. I hope she gets what's coming to her. I hope Whoopi Goldberg gets what's coming to her. Because spoiled and entitled Whoopi. She decided to defame, what's his name, Kyle Rittenhouse. Decided to call him a white supremacist when he wasn't. And decided to trash him. That was false, wasn't it? She even was so misinformed on the Bill Cosby case. She thought all those women were lying about Bill Cosby. I knew from day one those girls were telling the truth. And even when that deposition was unsealed, Whoopi had a hard time saying she was wrong. She didn't understand. She thought Bill Cosby was getting extorted for money. When that one lawsuit was filed, they couldn't sue. The statute of limitation was up. I'd say a majority of them. These were from cases in the 60s and 70s. They were too afraid to come forward at the time because they were afraid of not being believed. Plus, in those days, ladies, I'll put this out there. DNA was not a thing. They were discovering what DNA was. Okay. I'd say in the 70s and 80s. But the testing wasn't readily available. Especially in a criminal case. Rape tests weren't commonplace. Perhaps when they first came out, they were so expensive and controversial. It took several years for the courts to actually admit them into evidence. Absolutely, Wendy. But I'd like to say, not just an extension of the Democratic Party. I wouldn't even call them Democrats. I'd call them extremists. It's more of a show of if it's my way or the highway, in my opinion. There's a bunch of girls on The View who go on there every day and make fools of themselves. And if I'm bored and I want some entertainment, I'll go watch The View. for shits and giggles, because I know I'll be laughing. I'll be laughing at someone named Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg, because guess what? I don't take them seriously. Yeah, absolutely, Wyoming. An extremist on either side isn't good. Oh, absolutely, absolutely, Wendy. People are turning it off. I can't remember the last time I actually turned into a full episode of The View. I just watch clips of it here and there for a laugh, you know. Same thing with Fox News. The late night hosts on Fox. What's her name? Laura Ingraham. There was Carlson Tucker. What's the other guy's name? I'm thinking. Yeah, Wyoming. You know, yeah, I laughed at Carlson Tucker too. I didn't take that guy seriously either. I didn't really take Sean Hannity. That's right. That's right. Sean Hannity. I didn't take Sean Hannity seriously either, because these the late night show hosts have their own little angle at it. It's not actual news, so to speak. They kind of make a fool of themselves too sometimes, but less of a degree. Less of a degree than The View, the ladies of The View. Ladies of The View, I'll sit there and I'll laugh that Anna Navarro, I don't know what got into her. I thought she was somewhat of a middle of the road conservative. I lost all respect for her since she hopped on The View. Yep, absolutely, Wyoming. Research things for yourself. I don't buy anything they spoon feed me. Because I remember the stories that they used to tell on NBC, and then I look and then I Google search it, and then they say, okay, they forgot to tell me this. They forgot to tell me that. Oh no. They said this, but there's a big but to it. Yeah, but there's still Newsmax. Didn't they hire Chris Como from the Communist News Network or the Clown News Network, whatever you want to call it? Yeah, he used to lie to everyone. He used to lie to everybody, saying going to WikiLeaks is a crime. Please. Please, we're not going to get arrested for going to WikiLeaks and reading Hillary Clinton's emails. Please. The only one that may get in trouble is the person that harvested them. Once they're published, members of the public are not going to get in trouble for reading them. There's a Supreme Court case called the Pentagon Papers. If you don't believe me, look it up. Look it up. Don't take my word for it. Then they persecuted Julian Assange for being the publisher. That didn't work out so great, didn't it? Did it? Because the U.S. government couldn't prosecute him because the Supreme Court said they couldn't. They're just using him as a whooping boy, in my opinion. Yeah, I looked that one up, Wyoming. I said, wait a minute. I'm seeing in my news feed that some of my subs are watching Newsmax. So then I see Chris Como, and I said, wait a minute. They hired that jackass? They hired that jackass for news coverage after he got fired from the Clown News Network? Of course not. I'm not a fan of him. After he lied so many times, I don't give him any credibility. Why would we? Yeah, I heard he has that. I don't watch Tucker Carlson that much because he's a joke too. I heard his comments on women, and I'm like, okay, you're going a little too far, Tucker. Oh, really, Wendy? Okay. Oh, yeah. I seen a video, Wendy. I didn't watch it yet. The View. The ladies of The View humiliated themselves again. Oh, really? Wyoming? So Chris got caught in front of his wife's yoga class. Yikes. Damn. You wouldn't catch me doing that. Sorry. So the ladies of The View. So the ladies of The View, get a load of this. So they thought they knew something. They thought they knew it all, of course. So they decided to call out Joe Rogan. Unfortunately for them, they didn't fact check the damn thing. They thought they knew their facts or whatever. And it backfired in Joy Behar's face and Whoopi's. Big time. So apparently, you're going to see the look on their faces in the thumbnail when they got embarrassed. Priceless. Just saying. I used to like Whoopi Goldberg. Hey, Tam Tam. I used to like Whoopi Goldberg before she went on The View. She's a gifted actress. I liked her on Sister Act. I thought she was funny. Thought she was funny on Sister Act. I liked her in Ghost. I liked her in several of other roles, like Star Trek. Her role as Guinan. She played a diverse role. She played a diverse set of characters. And she did an awesome job at pretending to be someone she wasn't. She's talented. She's a talented actress. I gotta give Whoopi Goldberg that. I think one of my favorite movies with Whoopi Goldberg would be Ghost and Sister Act. I love those two movies. Okay? I loved her in Star Trek too. All right? I loved her on The Next Generation. She actually did a great job. But once she got to The View, it's like I couldn't stand her anymore. I couldn't stand her anymore. Not because she has an opinion that I disagree with. There's always someone I'm going to disagree with every so often, especially on these TV shows. I watched some of these episodes. What do they call the five? I disagree with them, but I don't despise them. The thing with Whoopi that bothers me is like she gives this sense of arrogance to her. She gives this portrayal that how do I say this? Remember her in Hollywood Squares when Whoopi Goldberg was on Hollywood Squares and she always had to be in the center square, center of attention. She gives off this vibe of she always gives off this vibe of arrogance. She's better than everyone else. It's her opinion or it's the highway. It's like some people are scared of her. That's the impression I got. Or I get when I listen to Whoopi. And speaking of Joy Behar, I used to like her. I thought she was funny when she had her talk show just by herself. I watched her. Yeah, so sometimes she was funny. This was before Whoopi even came around. Joy Behar has changed. And not for the better. Yeah, both are bitches, in my opinion. Whoopi Goldberg, Whoopi and Joy, they've gone so far to the left and up each other's asses and probably up Disney's or ABC's, same company, but it's not even funny. And Sunny Austin, she went off her rocker. I thought that she, as a federal prosecutor, she at least know her ABCs. She portrays herself as an idiot on The View. Yeah, Sunny's getting vile. And so hypocritical of everything. That's how I view her. Joy Behar has gotten so vile. Whoopi, forget about it. She has too many brain cells fried. She doesn't know where. I don't know if she knows where she is half the time. I remember listening to Judge Janine talking about the incident where Whoopi thought she owned the place. And she threw Judge Janine out of the building. Practically. Whoopi said, get the fuck out of here. And then started yelling and screaming at her because she disagreed. Yup, Wendy, you're 100% right. And I still see clips of it to this day, Wyoming. I still see clips of it. I still see clips of that show. And I believe Judge Janine. I don't believe Whoopi. Whoopi's version sounds like a watered down And now what the view has become is guests come on there to cuss those ladies out. I thought it was a place. I thought it was a place where you can go promote your book, talk about a topic. Yeah, Judge Janine, in my opinion, was a no-nonsense judge and lawyer. And she knew her shit. She knows her shit. All right? She's not stupid. Judge Janine's not stupid. I'll tell you that. She was judge, district attorney, a lawyer. She knows her shit. So when she says that bakery has a case against Whoopi, I believe her. She's a lawyer that knows her damn shit. And what do they do when a lot of these guests come on the View? I remember Tulsi Gabbard went on there and told Joy Behar off. Or they say, let me speak. Or they tell Whoopi and Joy to shut up on The View. Because they won't let their guests get a word in. I don't know, Wendy. I have no clue if they're going to actually go through with it. Yeah, I like Tulsi Gabbard. If she ran for president or a higher office that we have to vote for, I'd probably vote for her. She's someone I'd actually vote for. I'll tell you that. She's someone she's actually a woman I respect. It wasn't right for them on The View to call her, what do you call it? A Russian asset, which was debunked how many times? Well, so Wendy, you don't know much about her. All right. I suggest you go to her YouTube channel. She has a YouTube channel, so you can subscribe to her. And you could find out as much as you want. She has how many videos does she have up now? Tons of videos. So Tulsi Gabbard has lots of videos. I don't think Tulsi Gabbard is a Democrat nor a Republican. I think she's more in the middle. I think that's where most of America is, to be honest with you. I think that's where most of America is in the middle. But due to some, what do the Democrats do? What do I call this so people understand? Scare tactics employed by the left. So the Democrats usually run on a platform. If you vote for the Republicans, you're going to get all your civil rights taken away. So this is what they preach to black people. If you vote black people, if you vote for Republicans, you're going to get your civil rights taken away. That's false. So they preach to the LGBTQ community the same thing with paranoia. And so I did an experiment, all right, one time. I don't want to get too political here, but I did an experiment. I says, okay, we have civil rights legislation, and yeah, scare tactics. They've been employing these for years. So it's been kind of brainwashed or in their some people's heads that if they vote one way, they're going to get their rights taken away. So, not to get too political, but when I went, so if nobody knows this, but did you know that your senator or your representative's votes are recorded? So every bill that goes before Congress is actually put on the record, and everyone that votes yay, nay, or absent is recorded. So there was a few civil rights bills on the docket for Congress in both houses, in both chambers of Congress. And I was saying, okay, I learned the bill failed. So I went to see who voted nay to a good civil rights legislation bill. And guess who voted nay? All the Democrats who use scare tactics like these Democrats have been doing. They all voted nay to the bill. And what was the bill? Stopping police violence against minorities. Another bill was sabotaged by the Democrats because they added amendments. They added wasteful spending amendments. And then they voted nay. I don't know much about her, Wyoming. She doesn't represent me, or but I heard she's good. So yeah, I don't like to get too political. The View is the TV show The View has gotten way too political for me. I just watched the clips of those girls, Sonny Austin, Joy Behar, and Whoopi Goldberg making fools of themselves. But this time, Whoopi went too far. She decided because she wasn't getting preferential treatment at a Staten Island bakery, over something that was out of the bakery's control. She decided to give them lip service. She decided to give them lip service and say, well, it was because I called. They said the boilers were down, but when someone else went over there, called, they served. We were served. So they thought. So in her limited capacity mind, she thought it was over her politics. No, it had nothing to do with Whoopi's politics. It had to do with a damn oven. Damn, that girl's so dense. And they even told Whoopi on the phone, we don't know when our oven will get fixed. So nobody got desserts. Not just her. For like a week or so, no one got desserts. Because they couldn't make them. Damn. So she thinks because she's Whoopi Goldberg, they're gonna go out of the way to make her dessert. Damn. She's not special. There's nothing special about her. She can be treated just like anyone else, any other customer. Here's what I think. She should quit while she's behind. Whoopi should quit while she's behind. And she should go back to acting. Something she's good at. She's not good at The View. She's not good at The View. Now, I'll say this, Wendy. If she had something to say on national TV, Wendy, it should have been the truth. If she said, well, my order got delayed because of a broken oven, I'm not very happy about it, that would have been different. If she said that on TV, that would be her opinion. All right? If she called in for an order and her order was delayed or couldn't be guaranteed because of the oven and she wasn't happy about it, that would be her opinion. Okay? And if she explained why she wasn't too happy about it, that would be her opinion too. And she did, okay, Wendy. So, but she went on and implied that she was denied service because of her political beliefs. And she thought, and she said the oven was just an excuse to deny her service. That was a lie. There's a difference, Wendy. She didn't mention the name of the bakery. She didn't have to. Because it was so obvious to the business she was referring to. Because the cupcakes, if you look at the video, the clips from The View, they have a distinct lining the bakery uses for its cupcakes. Polka dots, small polka dots. That is Halterman's signature. And there's only one bakery that sells them in the New York City metro area that sells those Charlotte Russes. So it was easy for anyone to find who that bakery was. Just Google the dessert. Just Google that dessert with New York City. And Halterman's will come right up. That's all you needed. It's all you needed. It's irrelevant at this point if Whoopi Goldberg mentioned the bakery's name or not. She gave enough visual aids and a description of the dessert. She gave the dessert's name, a rare dessert, enough information She gave enough information on that to identify the bakery. Oh, I did too, Wendy. And even Democratic congressmen and senators are calling Whoopi out on her bullshit. Good for them. We have plenty of Whoopi Goldbergs in this community, unfortunately. We all know who they are. I don't have to mention their names. And one's finally getting a dose of their own medicine in this community. We all know it's Street Rat. She got served with a Rico suit. So I guess Queen Bee got served too, from what I'm seeing. She got added to the lawsuit. So some people around here are they're catching up to the threats, the intimidation. Now, Whoopi Goldberg may be getting sued. I'm just seeing videos where in the description. Yeah, Jack. Whoopi's first name is Karen, and she's literally a Karen, you know? How ironic is that? How ironic is that, you know? And here's the thing, Jack. Then on The View, here's the thing. You know what the topic was? Karens. And Whoopi was offended by people calling people a Karen as an insult. My opinion is don't act like one. And you won't be called a Karen, you know? But ironically, her real name is Karen. So, and she acts like one. So, yeah, but then Whoopi quietly admitted on The View that, oh yeah, but my first name is Karen. that clip was hilarious, by the way. That clip, if you actually watch that, was hilarious. She actually admits that her first name is Karen. Yeah. Offended Karens. That's what they do these days, Jack. That's what they do, you know? Everything on The View is about them being Karens, getting offended over everything. And now they're so offended that Trump won. I'm saying, do you know how offended some of us were in this country that Biden won? Damn. We had to sit back, accept it while he ruined this country, along with Kamala. Oh yeah, and they get no sex too. Joy was promoting don't give your to the ladies, don't give your husbands or boyfriends sex in retaliation. I'm saying, girl, are you fucking nuts? Yeah, we didn't run away acting like total idiots, you know? We voted. Everyone voted. And this is the result. So, hey, it's not our fault that we have a totally incompetent administration in the White House. Hey, how did so Trump got elected? I'll just point this out. I'm not promoting anything, but Trump actually did this. He actually fixed a few things while not even being sworn in. By making some phone calls, something Kamala didn't know how to do as border czar. It's amazing. And here's something I want to say with the no sex thing, Wendy. That reminds me of something that's not in the Bible, but is in the Acts of Peter. If you read the non-canonical stories. So what Peter did, he wanted to attack Rome, so to speak. This is my interpretation of the book. But he was telling all the Roman women to be celibate. He was teaching all the Roman women to be celibate, so to speak. So Peter was getting them to the women to take their power back from their husbands or whatever. And eventually Peter got arrested for undermining Rome's authority because their wives refused to have sex with the men. So Peter was sentenced to death and by crucifixion, and he was crucified upside down. Yeah. So Peter was actually crucified upside down, Wendy, at his request. So that was the story in the Acts of Peter. You could read the story online. So he was actually preaching that that the Roman women stay celibate. In my opinion, no one would say that unless it was a direct attack, a non-violent attack on Rome. And I think the underlying message, according to the other banned books, was he was trying to get the women to take their power back. And Rome wasn't going to allow that to happen, right? So they arrested Peter and got rid of him. Yeah, but now Trump's trying to get the Warren, you know where, to go away. So at least he's doing something. The war over at the Middle East, trying to get that to calm down. At least there's everything's trying to sizzle. So yeah, the view is just a bunch of useful idiots. Nobody to be taken seriously. You know, just I just laugh at Sonny Austin, Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg. That Anna Navarro is a joke now too. I think she became a far left liberal. And then she has the nerve to call herself a Republican. Oh yeah. Is she still alive? I don't keep up with these people. Oh yeah. Okay, she's gone. No, she died in 2022. So let me see here. I got the exact date here. I just looked it up. Okay, I could say last year, at the end of 2022. So yeah, she died. She's been dead for over a year. So yeah, she started the View, and which one of you said this? Let me see here. Yeah, the funny thing is they used to love Trump on the View until he ran for office. Saw those clips. Then they started going crazy. Yeah, the View is just for entertainment purposes only. You don't get anything genuine off that show. So it's no surprise to me that Whoopi actually slandered a bakery. They probably will do, and then they tried to. Yeah, they liked him even when he ran until he won. Then it turned to pure hatred, in my opinion. Turned to pure hatred and oh yeah, the one woman spit out the bite of her cupcake. It was gross. It was. It was. It's they're not normal people on that show. Joy Behar goes too far. So does Sonny Austin. So does Whoopi. They're all jokes. So it was no surprise to me when I turn on my feed and I see, oh, Whoopi Goldberg slandered Ultramans. And the owner sits there and he's splash and fall. But the problem with that, Jack, is Hillary Clinton or Hillary Clinton was a problem candidate from the start. And the girls of the viewers too stupid to realize that. They were that dumb. I knew she was the problem. I wouldn't vote for her. I didn't vote for Trump in 2016 either. I voted third party. I couldn't stand the 2016 circus that went on. 2020, I voted for Trump. This time I voted for him again. Yeah, I call her Hillary. You know the rumors. Yeah, they are protected, Wendy. They are so protected. It's disgusting. But it's the way it is, unfortunately. So the ladies of The View decided to go after that Rogan guy. That was disgusting too. But they got humiliated on the air. So if anyone sees that in their feed, give that a watch. So, all right, everyone. Been for 2.5 hours. So, all right, everyone. So, don't forget to hit the like and let me. You too, and I'm just gonna drop the PayPal link if anyone wants to donate tonight. And I'll see everyone another time, all right? So see everyone later. All right, bye-bye.